I'm standing in the St. Catherine ER hallway, and the air smells like antiseptic and stale coffee. My mother, Evelyn, is 2 feet away, struggling for every breath. The heart monitor is screaming, but all I can hear is the sound of my wife's career imploding in real time. Just 10 minutes ago, Dr. Patel, the attending, looked me in the eye. Bed 4 is ready, Adrian. We're moving her now. I squeezed Mom's hand. She gave me that weak smile of hers, the one she used to give Sloan when Sloan would come home from a 36-hour shift, too exhausted to eat. Mom loved her like a daughter. Hell, sometimes I thought Mom loved her more than she loved me. Then the vibe in the hall shifted. It was like the temperature dropped 10 degrees. I turned around, and there he was, Julian Cross. He wasn't alone. His old man, Robert Cross, was leaning on a walker, looking annoyed rather than sick. Julian had that same slick back hair and that predatory grin he always wore when he was about to close a deal or steal a woman. Sloan appeared almost instantly, materializing from the double doors like she'd been waiting for him. She didn't even glance at my mother. Her eyes were locked on Julian. Sloan, Julian said, his voice carrying that practiced charm. Dad's having some palpitations. He needs a quiet space to decompress. Sloan didn't miss a beat. She looked at the charge nurse, Linda, who was already holding Mom's chart. Cancel Mrs. Mercer's transfer, Sloan snapped. No hesitation. No eye contact with me. Prep bed 4 for Mr. Cross immediately. I stepped forward so fast, I nearly clipped a med card. I grabbed Sloan's wrist. Her skin was ice cold. What the hell are you doing? Mom's sitting at 85. She's an acute failure. Patel approved the ICU bed. Sloan yanked her arm away, her wedding ring scraping against my palm hard enough to draw blood. She finally looked at me, and her eyes were like steel. Adrian, don't make a scene. You're being emotional. Julian's father requires privacy and security. Your mother is stable enough for the med-surg floor. She's awake. She can wait a few hours. Wait? I couldn't keep the disbelief out of my voice. She's drowning in her own lungs. You're gonna let her sit in the hallway because this guy's dad needs privacy? Julian leaned in closer, resting a hand on Sloan's shoulder. He didn't even look at my mom. He looked at me like I was a bug on his shoe. Relax, Adrian. In this world, some spots are reserved for people who actually move the needle. Your little monitoring gadgets are cool, but my family's $20 million donation builds entire wings. It's just business. I felt something snap inside me. Not a break, more like a lock clicking into place. I pulled out my iPhone. I hit record. I looked at Nurse Linda. Linda, I need you to document right now that Dr. Whitaker is countermanding Dr. Patel's direct order. I need you to note that my mother, Evelyn Mercer, was approved for ICU based on her vitals, and that approval is being revoked in favor of a VIP admit. Linda looked terrified, her eyes darting between Sloan and me. Sloan's face turned a shade of purple I'd only seen once before, during a botched surgery. Adrian, stop this nonsense right now. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I asked, keeping the phone steady. Or am I just providing a clear record of medical negligence? Because if my mother codes in this hallway, I want the exact timestamp of when you decided a $20 million bribe was worth more than her oxygen. Julian laughed. Actually laughed. Bribe? Please. It's a strategic partnership. Something you wouldn't understand, Mercer. You're just the tech guy who married up. Sloan pointed a finger at me, her hand trembling with barely suppressed rage. You are way out of line. I am the chief of surgery here. I make these calls based on clinical need and institutional priorities. Julian's father has a history of fatal arrhythmias. He's high risk. He's walking and talking, Sloan. I shot back. Mom can barely keep her eyes open. You're lying to cover your ass and your ex-boyfriend's checkbook. Watch your mouth, Julian growled, stepping toward me. I didn't flinch. I looked him dead in the eye. Make me. Go ahead. Give the feds another reason to listen to this recording. Sloan stepped between us, shoving Julian back. Julian, stay out of it. Adrian, if you don't delete that recording and stop harassing my staff, I will have you escorted out of this hospital. And don't think I won't freeze our joint accounts tonight. Freeze them, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Go ahead. See how fast I shut down LifeSync servers. See how fast your precious research grants disappear when the software you've been using to win awards suddenly stops working. Her eyes widened. She knew I meant it. I'd built LifeSync from scratch. I'd given it to St. Catherine for free because I believed in her mission. I'd been a fool. You wouldn't, she whispered. Try me, I said. Now, are you going to do your job and save my mother, or are you going to keep whoring out hospital beds for donations? The word hung in the air. Even Julian looked taken aback. Sloane's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. She looked at the ICU doors, then at Robert Cross, who was already being wheeled toward the elevator by a gaggle of residents like he was royalty. "Linda," Sloane finally hissed, her voice tight. "Proceed with Mr. Cross's admission, and put Mrs. Mercer on high-flow nasal cannula. Monitor her closely." "High-flow?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You're putting her on a mask in the hallway while his dad gets a private suite? You're unbelievable. It's the best I can do right now." "Adrian," she said, turning away, "don't push me any further. I have a hospital to run. You have a legacy to protect." I corrected her. "And you just traded it for a handshake." I watched as they took Robert Cross away. He didn't even nod at me. Julian paused, looking back at my mom. He leaned in, his voice low enough that only I could hear. "She's tough, your mom, but not that tough. Don't worry, Mercer. I'll make sure Sloane's name is on the new wing." "Your mom's name?" "Maybe a plaque in the cafeteria. If there's room." I wanted to hit him. I wanted to drive my fist into his smug face so badly my knuckles ached. But I didn't. I kept the phone recording. I watched him walk away, following Sloane like a dog after its master. I turned back to my mom. Her lips were blue. The nasal cannula wasn't doing enough. I grabbed the nearest RN, a young guy named David who looked like he was about to puke. "David," her sats are dropping again. "Call a rapid response. Now." I can't, Mr. Mercer," he stammered. "Dr. Whitaker said." "I don't give a damn what Dr. Whitaker said." I roared. "That's my mother. You call it, or I will. And I'll make sure your license is the first one I mention in the lawsuit." He hesitated for a second, then sprinted for the nursing station. I leaned over Mom, brushing her hair back. "Hold on, Ma. Just hold on. I'm here." She looked up at me, her eyes cloudy with fear. "Adrian? Sloane?" "She's busy, Ma," I said, my throat tight. "She's got more important things to do." 2 hours. That's how long it took. 2 hours of her oxygen levels bouncing between 80 and 70. 2 hours of me watching the woman who had raised me, who had baked Sloane's favorite pie every Sunday, slowly suffocate because my wife valued a bank transfer over a heartbeat. Then the alarm went off. A long, piercing tone. Code blue. Hallway bed 3. Suddenly, the hallway was flooded with people. The crash cart screeched to a halt. A resident I didn't recognize was yelling for AP. I was shoved back against the wall. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, my phone still recording, watching them pound our chest. Sloane showed up then. She looked frazzled, her hair coming out of its bun. She saw me, and for a split second, I saw a flash of panic in her eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by that cold, clinical mask. "Adrian," she said, her voice clipped. "Step back. Let the team work." "Where are you?" I asked, my voice flat. 2 hours ago, you were making deals. Where were you when she started coding?" "I was handling the cross admission," she said, not meeting my gaze. "We had to stabilize him for the ICU." "Stabilize him?" I repeated. "He was walking, Sloane. He was walking." "Lower your voice," she hissed. "You're disrupting the resuscitation." I watched as they got a rhythm back. Mom's chest started rising and falling again, but her eyes were vacant. They rushed her to the ICU, the bed that had been meant for Robert Cross an hour ago. Sloane touched my shoulder, her fingers light. "She's back. We got her back. Look, I know it was intense earlier, but I did what I had to do for the hospital. For us. That $20 million will fund my research for a decade. We'll be set for life." I looked at her hand on my shoulder. I looked at her face, expecting remorse, apology, anything. All I saw was calculation. She was already thinking about the next grant, the next headline. I reached up and peeled her hand off my shoulder. I held up my phone. The red recording light was still blinking. "You didn't do that for us, Sloane," I said quietly. "You did it for you. You didn't just trade her bed. You traded her life. And you priced me at 0. Her face hardened. "Don't be dramatic, Adrian. It was a judgment call. A difficult one, yes, but necessary. I can fix the charting. We'll say she deteriorated rapidly. No one will question it. You're my husband. You support me." I smiled then. It was a smile I didn't recognize. It felt cold and sharp. "Support you? No, Isloane. I'm done supporting you. You paid your assistant 80 grand last year to manage your social calendar. You couldn't find $800 in charity care for the woman who treated you like her own child. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice." I turned and walked toward the ICU. I didn't look back. I could feel her eyes on my back, burning holes in my scrubs. As I passed the nurse's station, I stopped. I looked at the monitor displaying my mother's new vitals. Stable, but the brain scan would come later. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick email to Marcus, my lawyer. One word: initiate. Then I opened the LifeSync portal on my laptop. I didn't revoke the license yet. I just watched the data stream in. Every heartbeat, every breath, Every action taken by every doctor and nurse, including the one Sloan was about to take to cover her tracks. I looked at the empty hallway where my mother had coded. I looked at the ICU doors, and I whispered to myself, "You just lost everything, Dr. Whitaker, and you don't even know it yet." The game had changed. I wasn't the supportive husband anymore. I was the man holding all the cards, and I was about to play them. I walked into the ICU, sat by Mom's bed, and waited for the first of Sloane's lies to hit the server. I didn't have to wait long. Within minutes, I saw the first attempt to alter her chart. I watched the timestamps. I watched the usernames. I smiled again. The data never lied. And soon, neither would I. Sloane thought she'd won because she got her donation. But she'd forgotten one crucial thing. I own the technology. I own the truth. And I was about to make sure the whole world saw it. I leaned back in the chair, the hum of the machines a familiar comfort. This wasn't just about Mom anymore. This was about every patient she'd ever pushed aside for $1. This was about every lie she'd ever told to get ahead. This was about justice, and I was going to deliver it bite by bite. The recording was still running. I hit save. The first piece of evidence in the case that would bring Chicago's medical miracle crashing down. And I hadn't even started yet. I'm sitting in the ICU family room, staring at the LifeSync dashboard on my laptop. The numbers are steady, but the brain scan results just came back. Hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. Permanent damage. Mom's body is here, but a part of her mind is just gone. Sloane walks in, still in her scrubs, looking like she just stepped off a magazine cover. She's got that practiced look of concern on her face, the one she uses for the board of directors. She doesn't look at the screen. She looks at me. "Adrian, we need to talk," she says, her voice low and firm. She pulls up a chair, crossing her legs. "The insurance adjuster is asking questions about the bed delay. I need you to back my version of events." I don't look up from the screen. I'm watching the metadata logs. Which version is that? Sloane? The one where you saved my mother? Or the one where you sold her bed for $20 million? Her jaw tightens. She reaches out, trying to close my laptop. I catch her wrist midair. Her skin is warm, but mine feels like stone. "Don't be a child," she hisses. "This is bigger than us. That donation puts St. Catherine on the map. It funds my department for the next decade. I did what I had to do for the institution." I finally look at her. I want to see if there's any guilt in those icy blue eyes. There isn't. Just ambition. You did what you had to do for your career. There's a difference. And you did it knowing Mom was coding in the hall. She's stable now. Sloane shoots back, her voice rising. She glances at the door, making sure no one is listening. "I got her the best care possible once the situation stabilized. You're acting like I left her to die. I made a triage decision under pressure. Any reasonable doctor would have done the same. Any reasonable doctor wouldn't have taken a bribe from her ex-boyfriend to bump a critical patient," I say, turning the laptop so she can see the screen. "Look at this." The system flagged an anomaly. Someone tried to edit Mom's chart 30 minutes ago. They changed her initial presentation from acute respiratory failure to mild dyspnea. They deleted the note about Dr. Patel approving the ICU bed. Sloane's face pales. She leans in, squinting at the screen. That's just a lag in the system. Sometimes the auto-save feature. Bullshit, I cut her off. I pull up the audit trail. Here's the username, S. Whitaker. Here's the IP address. It's your office computer. And here's the timestamp. It happened 20 minutes after you left Mom's bedside. You're not just covering your tracks, Sloane. You're committing fraud. She stands up so fast her chair scrapes against the floor. She starts pacing, running a hand through her perfect hair. "Fine. Okay. Yes, I adjusted the chart. Do you know what happens if this gets out? My career is over. The hospital's reputation tanks. I'm up for chief of surgery next month, Adrian. I can't have this incident ruining everything." I laugh. It's a cold, hollow sound. "Your career? You're worried about your promotion while Mom is in there drooling into a feeding tube? You're unbelievable. Don't you dare judge me." She snaps, spinning around to jab a finger at me. "Where were you when I was killing myself in residency? Where were you when I was sleeping in call rooms? You had your little tech toys, and I built a legacy. Julian offered me a way to secure that legacy. I took it. Is that so hard to understand?" "It's not hard to understand," I say, closing the laptop with a sharp click. "It's just hard to forgive. You called my mother a statistic. Remember that? In the hallway? I have it recorded. You said her life was worth less than a donation." Sloane's expression shifts. The anger fades, replaced by a calculated coolness. She sits back down, smoothing her scrubs. "Adrian, think about this logically. If I go down, the hospital goes down. The research funding dries up. Jobs are lost. And you, You'll be known as the guy who destroyed Chicago's top cardiac program because his mommy got sick. Is that really the narrative you want? I stare at her. She's actually trying to manipulate me into silence. Again, you're threatening me now, with mom in a coma? I'm explaining the reality of the situation. She says, leaning forward. Her voice drops to a whisper. I can fix this. I'll make sure mom gets the best rehab money can buy. I'll set up a trust. I'll make sure you get a cut of the research grants. We can be partners in this. Julian's family isn't the only game in town. We can use their money and build something even bigger. But I need you to delete that recording. And I need you to leave the life sync data alone. I shake my head slowly. You still don't get it, do you? This was never about the money. It was about respect. You paid your assistant, Rachel, 80 grand last year to manage your Instagram and book your spa days. You couldn't find $800 in charity care for the woman who cooked your meals and ironed your lab coats? The woman who cried when you got your board certification? Sloan waves a dismissive hand. Rachel handles my public image. That's an investment. Your mother, she's family. Family is supposed to understand sacrifices for the greater good. The greater good? I stand up, towering over her. You mean the greater good of your bank account? You didn't make a sacrifice, Sloan. You made a transaction, and you screwed the pooch on the math. I open my email and forward a message to her phone. Her phone buzzes. She looks at the screen, and her face drains of color. It's the official notice from LifeSync Incorporated revoking St. Catherine's free license to use the monitoring system, effective immediately. You can't do that, she whispers. The hospital relies on that data. My research is now dead in the water, I finish. You don't get to use my technology to prop up a corrupt empire. You don't get to profit off the system I built while you're busy killing the people who use it. The license was contingent on ethical use. You violated that the second you traded a bed for cash. She stands up, her hands shaking. For the first time, I see a crack in the armor. Fear. Real, genuine fear. Adrian, please, don't do this. Think about us. Think about what we've built together. I am thinking, I say. I'm thinking about mom. I'm thinking about every patient you've ever pushed aside because they didn't have a Julian cross in their corner. You didn't just hurt mom. You've been running a side hustle for years, haven't you? VIP admissions, fake diagnoses, insurance fraud. I saw the patterns in the data months ago, but I ignored them because I trusted you. I won't ignore them anymore. Her eyes widen. She knows I've seen more than just a bed swap. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do, I say, pulling up another window. I've been running analytics on the LifeSync data for months, cross-referencing admission times, doctor notes, and insurance billing codes. There's a pattern, Sloan. Every time Julian's family or their associates come in, they get immediate ICU access and a diagnosis of unstable angina or critical arrhythmia, regardless of their actual vitals. And guess who bills the insurance for the most expensive procedures? Dr. Sloan Whitaker. And guess where the donations end up? In the research fund you control with Julian. She lunges for my laptop. I step back, holding it out of reach. Give me that. You have no right to that data. It's hospital property. The data is mine, I say coldly. The hardware is mine. The software is mine. You used it without a license the second you started altering records. And now, I'm taking it all back. Every byte, every log, every timestamp. You'll destroy everything. She screams. A nurse walks past the open door and glances in. Sloan forces a smile, waving her off, then turns back to me, her voice a venomous whisper. You're nothing without me, Adrian. You're just a nerdy engineer who got lucky marrying someone famous. I made you. I gave you a life. And this is how you repay me? By stealing my tools and threatening to ruin my career? I'm not repaying you, I say. I'm holding you accountable. You didn't make me, Sloan. I built myself, and I sure as hell didn't get lucky. I got stupid. Stupid enough to think you actually cared about people. I start walking toward the door. She grabs my arm, her nails digging in. Adrian, wait. Please. I'll change the records back. I'll make sure mom gets the best care. I'll break it off with Julian. Completely. Just don't go to the board. Don't go to the feds. I'll lose everything. I look down at her hand on my arm. I remember the first time she held my hand. It felt like coming home. Now it feels like a shackle. I peel her fingers off one by one. You already lost everything, I say. You just don't know it yet. The data is already copied. It's in 3 different secure servers off-site. Even if you delete the local files, even if you pay off every IT guy in this building, the truth is out there. And it's going to the Illinois Department of Public Health tomorrow morning. Her face crumples. The mask finally slips. She looks older, tired, and scared. You're really going to do this? To your own wife? After 5 years? After 5 years of watching you become a monster, I reply, yeah, I am. I walk out of the family room, leaving her standing there. I head straight for the elevators, pulling out my phone. I dial Marcus, my lawyer. Marcus, I say when he picks up, it's Adrian. I need you to draft a divorce petition. Irreconcilable differences. And I need you to prepare a whistleblower complaint for the FBI's healthcare fraud unit. I'm sending over the data package now. Got it. Marcus says, his tone all business. You sure about this, Adrian? Once we send this, there's no going back. There was no going back the moment she chose a donation over my mother's life. I say, watching the elevator doors slide open. I'm done playing nice. She wants a war. She's going to get one. And I'm bringing the evidence. I hang up and step into the elevator. As the doors close, I see Sloan running down the hall, screaming my name. I hit the button for the lobby. I don't look back. I walk out into the Chicago night. The air is cold, biting. It feels real, honest, unlike the sterile, lying halls of St. Catherine's. I get into my car and open my laptop again. I watch the LifeSync dashboard. I see Sloan's username trying to access the server again. Denied. I see her trying to delete files. Backed up. I see her calling the IT director. Recorded. She's scrambling. She's deleting, editing, lying. But it's too late. The architecture of her deceit is laid bare in the code. Every lie has a timestamp. Every bribe has a digital fingerprint. I start the car and drive toward my apartment. I have a long night ahead. I need to organize the data, prepare the affidavits, and get ready for the fallout. But as I drive, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel clarity. Cold, hard clarity. Sloan thought she was the miracle worker. She thought her scalpel and her name were the most powerful things in that hospital. But she forgot one thing. In the modern world, information is power, and I own the information. She paid her assistant $80,000 to manage her image. She paid my mother $800 worth of neglect, and she paid me absolutely nothing in respect. But she's about to pay the ultimate price. I pull into my parking garage and kill the engine. I look at the screen one last time. The data is flowing, immutable and true. The game is over, Sloan, and you just lost everything. I close the laptop and head upstairs. Tomorrow, the world finds out who Dr. Sloan Whitaker really is and who Adrian Mercer really became. Not a victim, a witness, and a goddamn avenger. I'm in Marcus's conference room on LaSalle Street, staring at a wall of glass that overlooks the loop. The city is waking up, but I haven't slept. My suit is rumpled, my eyes are burning, but the LifeSync dashboard on my tablet is glowing, showing me everything I need to know. Sloan's been busy, too busy. Marcus slides a cup of black coffee toward me. He's in his 60s, a veteran of corporate bloodbaths, and he's looking at me with a mix of professional curiosity and something like pride. You got the data package? It's ready, I say, tapping the tablet. Every altered chart, every deleted log, every timestamp. It's all there, immutable. She can't touch it. Good, Marcus says, loosening his tie, because she's already lawyered up. Big firm, Skadden, and she's not going down without a fight. I got a call from their lead counsel an hour ago. They're claiming you're a disgruntled spouse engaged in a campaign of cyber harassment. I snort. Cyber harassment? I'm providing evidence of felony fraud. They'll spin it. Marcus says, his voice flat. They'll say you're unstable, that you're retaliating because she ended the marriage. They'll paint her as a victim of a jealous husband's tech savviness. I shake my head. Let them. The data doesn't care about her PR team. It shows exactly when she logged in, what she changed and why. She tried to delete the hallway camera footage from yesterday. Julian's IT guy actually sent her a confirmation email. I have that too. Marcus raises an eyebrow. You're sure it's solid? I built the system. Marcus, I know every backdoor, every encryption protocol. She's been cooking the books for 2 years. VIP admissions, inflated diagnoses, upcoded procedures. It's all there. Julian's family and their cronies were basically getting guaranteed ICU slots and unnecessary surgeries, all billed to insurance at maximum rates. And the kickbacks? They were funneling donations into a research fund she controls. It's a classic RICO predicate. Marcus whistles low. Racketeering. That's heavy. The feds will love that. They're getting the full package this morning. I say, hitting send on the encrypted email to the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI's healthcare fraud unit, along with a formal complaint to the Illinois Medical Board and the Department of Public Health. Once you do this, there's no going back, Marcus warns. She'll come at you with everything she's got. Expect a restraining order, a defamation suit, and a custody battle over the tech. I don't care about the tech anymore, I say, my voice cold. I care about Mom, and I care about making sure she never hold a scalpel again. Marcus nods, his expression grim. All right, we're live. Let's see how fast the dominoes fall. We don't have to wait long. My phone starts blowing up. Unknown numbers. Text from Sloan. I ignore them all. Then my office line rings. It's the hospital's general counsel. I put on speaker. Marcus leans in. Adrian Mercer. The voice on the other end says, crisp and officious. This is Arthur Price, general counsel for St. Catherine's. We've been made aware of your unauthorized distribution of proprietary hospital data. We demand the immediate return of all hardware and the deletion of any copied files. Failure to comply will result in criminal charges for theft of trade secrets and violation of HIPAA. I laugh, a short, sharp bark of amusement. Arthur, save the legal theater. You know exactly what's in that data. You've probably seen Sloan's edits yourself. I'm not stealing anything. I'm returning stolen property. The truth. And HIPAA doesn't apply when you're submitting evidence of criminal activity to federal authorities. Look up the public disclosure bar under the False Claims Act. There's a pause. I can practically hear him sweating. Mr. Mercer, this is highly irregular. Dr. Whitaker maintains that you're acting out of personal animus due to marital difficulties. She's provided us with emails suggesting you threatened to sabotage the LifeSync system unless she granted your mother preferential treatment. I look at Marcus. His eyes narrow. She's forging evidence now? Put me on speaker. Adrian, Sloan's voice cuts in, sharp and clear. She's patched herself in. I can hear the tension in her voice, the forced calm of someone trying to maintain control. Adrian, this is insane. What you're doing is going to destroy the hospital, ruin lives, and for what? Because I made one difficult call in the ER? You're throwing away our future over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I repeat, my grip tightening on the phone. You let my mother code in the hallway while you escorted your ex-boyfriend's healthy father to a private suite. You then falsified her chart to cover it up. That's not a misunderstanding, Sloan. That's criminal negligence and fraud. I was under immense pressure. She snaps. Julian's donation was vital. You're too short-sighted to see the bigger picture. And those emails, I can explain them. You were unstable that night. You were ranting. I documented it for my own protection. Kumbanien, Isai. Too bad, I have the original recordings of that conversation. The ones where you told me mom's life was worth less than a donation. And the ones where you explicitly ordered the nurse to swap the beds. Your documentation is a transparent forgery, Sloan. The metadata on those emails will prove they were created after the fact. My system logs every interaction with a mail server. I've already cross-referenced it. Silence on the line. Then, Julian's voice, smooth and arrogant. He's there too. Mercer, you're in way over your head. You think you could take on a Cross family? We got the best lawyers money can buy. We'll bury you so deep you'll need a miner's lamp to find your own ass. Sloan's a hero. She saves lives. You're just a bitter little man with a grudge. A hero who trades lives for cash? I fire back. Julian, your father didn't need an ICU bed. He needed a checkup and a haircut. But you convinced Sloan to commit fraud to get him one anyway. And now, you're both on tape discussing the quid pro quo. Enjoy your $20 million. It's going to be the last big score you ever make before the Fed sees every penny. You're bluffing. Julian sneers. Am I? I say, opening a new file on my tablet. Because according to the LifeSync logs, your father's critical arrhythmia magically resolved itself the moment he was admitted to the ICU. His vitals have been perfectly stable for the last 12 hours. Yet, Sloan billed his insurance for a complex critical care consultation and an emergency cardiac workup. That's insurance fraud, Julian, and I've already forwarded the billing records to the FBI. I hear a sharp intake of breath from Sloan. Adrian, you wouldn't. That's proprietary billing information. It's evidence. I correct her. And it's all going to the government, along with the proof that you've been doing this for years. Patient after patient, all of them cross-linked, all of them getting premium care they didn't need, while people like my mother were left to choke in the halls. You're destroying everything we built. Sloan screams, her composure finally shattering. I can hear the hysteria creeping in. 5 years, Adrian. 5 years of my life. And you're throwing it away because your mother wasn't priority enough for you? She was priority enough for you to call her a statistic. I roar back, my own anger finally breaking through the cold exterior. She was priority enough for you to joke about her life being worth less than a donation. You didn't build anything, Sloan. I built the technology that made your miracles possible, and you used it to line your pockets and stroke your ego. You're not a doctor. You're a goddamn con artist. Shut up, Julian yells. Sloan, hang up the phone. He's clearly unhinged. We'll handle this in court. Our lawyers will rip him apart. Good luck with that. Marcus interjects smoothly, finally joining the call. This is Marcus Thorne, Sloan. I represent Adrian now. Any further communication should go through my office. And for the record, the data package we submitted to the authorities is comprehensive, verified, and backed up in multiple secure locations. Attempts to destroy evidence or intimidate witnesses will only result in additional obstruction charges, which, I believe, carry a substantial prison sentence in Illinois. Another silence. This one is heavier. I can almost hear the gears turning in Sloane's head. She's realizing the walls are closing in. Marcus, she says, her voice suddenly small, pleading. Please, can we talk about this? Off the record? Adrian, baby, please. I'll fix everything. I'll make sure your mother gets the best care. I'll resign from the hospital. I'll give you the house, the cars, everything. Just stop the investigation. Please, before it's too late. It's already too late, Sloan, I say, my voice devoid of emotion. You made your choice in that hallway. You chose Julian's money over my mother's life. You chose your career over your integrity, and you chose to lie about it. I'm just making sure everyone else knows the truth. I was trying to save the hospital, she cries. I was trying to secure our future. Can't you see that? I see a woman who forgot who she was, I say, and a woman who forgot who I am. I'm not the guy you can manipulate with a pretty smile and a sob story anymore. I'm the guy holding the keys to your cell. You're a monster, she whispers. No, I say, I'm the man who finally held you accountable. And the monster you created is the one facing 20 years in federal prison. I hang up the phone before she can respond. I look at Marcus. He's smiling a cold, satisfied smile. Nicely done, he says. That recording will be gold for the prosecutors. She just admitted to the bed swap and the motive. I know, I say, leaning back in my chair. She's panicking. She's going to try something desperate now. Expect a restraining order by noon. Probably a press leak painting me as an abusive, unstable husband. Let her, Marcus says. We'll counter with the data. The truth is a hell of a shield. My phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. It's a photo of Mom in her hospital bed, hooked up to tubes. The message reads, she's comfortable now, but accidents happen in the ICU, especially to patients whose families cause trouble. Withdraw the complaints, or she might not make it to rehab. I stare at the screen. My blood runs cold, then hot. This isn't just desperation. This is a threat. Direct, vile, and unmistakably from Sloan or Julian. I show Marcus the screen. His jaw tightens. That's witness tampering and intimidation. That's another felony. I forward the text to the FBI agent I've been in contact with. Then, I dial the hospital's direct line, asking for the ICU charge nurse. I don't bother with Sloan or Julian. Linda, I say when she picks up, it's Adrian Mercer. I just received a threat regarding my mother's safety. I'm sending it to you and the hospital admin. I want extra security on her floor immediately, and I want a full log of everyone who accesses her room. If anything happens to her, I'm holding the hospital, and specifically Dr. Whitaker, personally responsible, and I'll be filing a police report within the hour. Adrian, oh my God, Linda whispers. I heard about the threats. I'll make sure security is there right away. No one gets in without clearance. I swear. I hang up, feeling a fresh wave of rage. They're not just attacking me. They're attacking my mother, the one person who never did them any harm. She's really losing it, Marcus murmurs. Threatening a witness? That's the final nail. No, I say, watching the LifeSync data feed. It's a final mistake. She thinks she can scare me. She thinks she can still control the narrative. But she's forgotten one thing. Every move she makes now is just more evidence. That text, it's going straight into the federal complaint. Her attempt to intimidate me, it proves consciousness of guilt. I open my email and see the auto-reply from the FBI. Message received. Case number assigned. Agents en route to St. Catharines to secure records and interview personnel. The dominoes are falling faster than she realizes. Let her leak stories, I tell Marcus. Let her file restraining orders. Let her scream about her reputation. The truth is out there now. And the truth is, she's a fraud, a liar, and a thief. And she's about to pay the price. I look at the photo of Mom on my phone. Her face is peaceful, despite everything. I'm sorry, Ma, I whisper. I'm sorry I didn't see who she really was sooner. But I'm gonna make her pay for what she did to you. I'm gonna make sure she never hurts anyone else again. Marcus places a hand on my shoulder. You're doing the right thing, Adrian. It's ugly, and it's gonna get uglier, but you're doing the right thing. I nod. stealing myself. I know, and I'm not stopping until she's wearing orange. I turn back to the tablet, watching the data flow. The audit trail is complete. The evidence is irrefutable, and the reckoning is coming. Sloan wanted a war. She wanted to play the game of kings and millionaires. But she forgot that in the age of information, the man who owns the data owns the world. And I own her world now. Every bite of it. The door to the conference room opens. An agent from the FBI walks in, flanked by a state investigator. Mr. Mercer? The agent says, flashing a badge. We're here to collect the evidence. And we have some questions about Dr. Whitaker and Mr. Cross. I close the tablet, standing up. I'm ready when you are. I have everything you need. As I walk out with the agents, I don't look back at the city skyline. I'm looking forward. Forward to the courtroom. Forward to the testimony. Forward to the day I can look Sloan in the eye and tell her, one last time, that her choices had consequences, and that her life, her career, and her freedom were worth exactly $800. And she lost them all. I'm sitting in the hard wooden chair of the Dirksen Federal Building, staring at the back of Sloan's head. She's 2 tables over, surrounded by her high-priced attorneys from Skadden. She's wearing a navy blue skirt suit. Her hair is perfect, and she's got that same cold, clinical mask she wears in the OR. But I can see her hands. They're trembling just enough to make her pen jitter on the legal pad. Good. Let her sweat. The courtroom is packed. It's been 3 months since I hit send on that data package. 3 months of depositions, subpoenas, and Sloan's failed attempts to paint me as a vengeful, unstable ex-husband. The jury files in, and I don't even glance at them. I've already won. The data did that for me. Marcus leans over, his voice a low murmur. Remember, just answer their questions. Don't get baited. Let the logs do the talking. I nod, my eyes locked on Sloan. She still hasn't looked at me. She's staring straight ahead, her jaw set. She thinks she's untouchable. She always has. The prosecutor, a no-nonsense assistant U.S. attorney named Daniels, calls me to the stand. I walk up, place my hand on the Bible, and swear to tell the truth. My voice doesn't waver. I've been living with this truth for too long to be nervous now. Daniels starts with the basics. My credentials, my relationship to Sloan, the development of LifeSync. Then he gets to the heart of it. Mr. Mercer, can you explain to the jury the significance of the data logs you provided to the government? I turn to the jury, making eye contact with each of them. LifeSync was designed to be an immutable audit trail. Every vital sign, every medication administered, every bed assignment, and every doctor's note is time-stamped and encrypted across a decentralized server. It cannot be deleted or altered without leaving a permanent record of the attempt. And were there any attempts to alter records related to your mother, Evelyn Mercer, and a Mr. Robert Cross on the evening of March 14th? Yes, I say, my voice echoing in the silent courtroom. Multiple attempts. The logs show that Dr. Whitaker, my then-wife, accessed my mother's chart and changed her initial diagnosis from acute respiratory failure to mild dyspnea. She also deleted the original nursing note confirming Dr. Patel's approval for an ICU bed. Simultaneously, she accessed Mr. Cross's chart and fabricated a history of unstable ventricular tachycardia to justify his immediate ICU admission. Sloan's lead attorney, a slick guy named Harrison, is on his feet. Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Mercer is not a medical expert and is speculating on clinical justifications. Overruled, the judge says. The witness is testifying to the digital records he created and monitored, not offering a medical opinion. Harrison sits down, shooting me a glare that could curdle milk. I ignore him. Daniels continues. And what about the financial aspect? Did you discover any connection between these admissions and financial contributions to St. Catherine's? Yes, I say. The logs show that Dr. Whitaker and Julian Cross, Mr. Cross's son, exchanged a series of messages through the hospital's internal system. In those messages, Mr. Cross explicitly states that his father's admission to the ICU would be contingent on a $20 million donation to the new research center. Dr. Whitaker agreed to the terms. Furthermore, the system tracked the subsequent billing. Mr. Cross was charged for a battery of unnecessary cardiac procedures, billed at the highest complexity level, which were never performed. I see Julian Cross flinch in the gallery. He's already pleaded guilty to conspiracy and is waiting for his own sentencing. He sold her out the second the feds showed him the evidence. Then, it's Harrison's turn for cross-examination. He swaggers up, trying to intimidate me. Mr. Mercer, Isn't it true that you were recently served with divorce papers? That you stand to gain financially from your wife's downfall? I filed for divorce the day after my mother was brain damaged due to Dr. Whitaker's negligence. I correct him. Any financial settlement is secondary to ensuring she never practices medicine again. Convenient timing, Harrison sneers. And isn't it true that you had a personal vendetta against Mr. Cross? That you were jealous of his relationship with your wife? I wasn't jealous, I say, my voice flat. I was disgusted. Jealousy is for people who want what you have. I didn't want Julian Cross. I wanted my wife to act like a doctor instead of a broker for hospital beds. Harrison tries to circle around. You provided the government with thousands of pages of data. Isn't it possible you misinterpreted some of it? Or perhaps altered it yourself to frame your wife? I lean forward, looking him dead in the eye. The data is cryptographically signed by the LifeSync hardware at the moment of capture. Any alteration would break the signature and trigger an immediate alert. The FBI's own forensic IT team has already verified the integrity of the logs. They matched the backups stored on my off-site servers, which were time-stamped before the investigation even began. If I had altered them, the signatures wouldn't match. Check the metadata. Counselor. It's all there. He hates that. He knows the feds have already confirmed the data is bulletproof. He moves on, trying a different angle. You recorded a conversation in the ER hallway, didn't you? Yes. And in that recording, Dr. Whitaker explains she made a judgment call based on institutional priorities. Isn't that what doctors are trained to do? Triage? Triage is deciding who gets treated first when resources are limited and everyone is critical, I say, my voice hardening. Is not swapping a dying woman for a healthy man because his son offered a bribe. That's not triage. That's a transaction. And in that recording, she explicitly states my mother's life was worth less than a donation. That's not a judgment call. That's evaluation. Harrison has nothing left. He throws a few more softballs, but I knock them all out of the park. Finally, he slinks back to his seat. Daniels has no further questions. I step down from the stand, and as I pass Sloane's table, I finally look at her. She's not looking at her lawyers. She's looking at me. And for the first time in years, I see it. Not anger, not arrogance. Fear. Raw, naked, soul-crushing fear. The rest of the trial is a formality. Julian Cross takes the stand and confirms everything. He testifies that Sloane actively sought out his family's business, guaranteeing VIP treatment in exchange for donations and research grants. He even plays the recording I made, the one where she says my mother can wait. The courtroom is silent, but you can feel the collective disgust. Sloane's defense falls apart. They try to claim she was under duress, that she was manipulated by Julian, but the data doesn't lie. It shows her logging in at 2 a.m. to alter charts. It shows her personally approving the inflated insurance bills. It shows a pattern of behavior that spans 2 years. The jury is out for 6 hours. 6 hours of pure, agonizing silence in the courthouse hallway. Sloane sits with her head in her hands, her mother, who used to bake me cookies, crying quietly beside her. I sit with Marcus, drinking shitty vending machine coffee and checking the LifeSync app on my phone. Mom is in her long-term care facility. Her vitals are stable. She's never going to recover, but she's safe, and she's far away from the monster who let her suffer. The jury foreman stands up. We find the defendant, Dr. Sloane Whitaker, guilty on all counts. Conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, wire fraud, mail fraud, falsification of medical records, and obstruction of justice. The gavel comes down. Bang. It's over. Sloane doesn't react. She just sits there frozen. Her lawyers are already packing up, avoiding her gaze. The prosecutor, Daniels, walks over to me and shakes my hand. Good job, Mr. Mercer. You helped us take down one of the most corrupt physicians in the state. I just nod. I don't feel victorious. I feel empty. The judge begins the sentencing phase. He lists her crimes, her abuse of power, her betrayal of the Hippocratic Oath. He talks about the patients she harmed, the trust she shattered. Then, he looks at her. Dr. Whitaker, you were once a symbol of hope in this city. You are now a symbol of greed and corruption. Your actions led to the permanent disability of a vulnerable patient and defrauded the public of millions. For that, I sentence you to 18 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. You will also forfeit all assets derived from your criminal enterprise and pay restitution to the victims and the insurance companies. 18 years. She'll be in her 50s when she gets out. Her career is ashes. Her reputation is toxic. As the marshals move in to cuff her, she finally breaks. She struggles against them, her composure shattering completely. No, you don't understand. It was a mistake. A single mistake under pressure. Adrian, please. Tell them it was a mistake. We can fix this. I'll give you everything. The house, the money, the patents. Just tell them you overreacted. Tell them it was just a bad night. Her voice is raw, desperate, and pathetic. She's looking at me like I'm her only lifeline, like I'm the one who can undo the clock. The marshals start to drag her away. She fights them, her eyes wild. Adrian, baby, look at me. I loved you. I did it for us, for our future. Please, don't let them do this. I'll lose everything. I'll lose my life. I stand up. I walk over to her. The marshals pause, waiting. I look down at her. She's crying now, tears smearing her perfect makeup. She looks small, broken, human. I lean in, so only she can hear me. My voice is calm, colder than the Chicago wind outside. You're right, Sloan. You're losing everything. But it wasn't a mistake. A mistake is misreading a chart. A mistake is a wrong dosage. What you did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. You chose Julian's money over my mother's life. You chose your career over your integrity. You chose to lie, to cheat, and to steal. You didn't miscalculate the medicine. You miscalculated the value of a human life. You thought my mother's life and my loyalty was worth $800, and you thought your own was worth $20 million. The math was always wrong, Sloan. You just couldn't see it until it was too late. Her eyes widen, and for a second, the realization hits her. The full weight of what she's done. The fact that I'm not her savior. I'm her judge. Adrian, I didn't mean, she stammers. Yes, you did, I interrupt. You meant every word. You meant it when you called her a statistic. You meant it when you laughed at me in that hallway. You meant it when you tried to threaten her life to shut me up. You just never thought I'd be the one to hold you accountable. You forgot who owned the data. You forgot who built the system you used to lie. And you forgot who I am. I step back. The marshals tighten their grip on her arms. Tell them, she screams as they pull her toward the door. Adrian, tell them it was a mistake. Tell them you forgive me. Please, for old time's sake, for the 5 years we had. Don't let them take me. I'll die in there. I watch her go. I watch the woman I once loved, the woman I supported, the woman I trusted, being led away in shackles. I watch her legacy crumble to dust. I don't say another word. I don't offer forgiveness. I don't offer pity. I just turn and walk out of the courtroom. Outside, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful spring day in Chicago. I walk to my car, get in, and sit there for a minute. I look at the photo of Mom on my dashboard. I touch the screen. It's over, Ma, I whisper. She's gone. She can't hurt you anymore. I start the car and drive toward the care facility. I'm not going to the victory party Marcus planned. I'm not talking to the reporters camped outside. I'm going to sit with my mother. I'm going to hold her hand and tell her about the weather. I'm going to tell her that the woman who forgot her humanity is finally paying the price. As I merge onto the Dan Ryan Expressway, I glance in the rearview mirror. The city is behind me. The trial is over. The data is safe. Sloan Whitaker, the Chicago miracle, is finished. And Adrian Mercer, the man she dismissed as a tech geek, is the one who buried her. She paid her assistant $80,000 to manage her image. She paid my mother $800 worth of neglect. And she paid me nothing but disrespect. But in the end, she paid the ultimate price. Her freedom, her career, her name. And I got justice. I drive on, the wind in my hair, the truth in my pocket, and the memory of her final desperate pleas fading in the roar of the engine. She lost everything, and I finally got my life back.